working for various security firms. I got involved and got started because it was something that was challenging. As I got into my career, I was believed that I was making contribution and significance in protecting our nations. After a little while, once I really started to understand why I was put on this earth, and so I started to love people and get to know individuals, I found a much higher calling in life, something that I found to be much more significant, making much larger impact on humanity. And I've fallen in love with changing the lives of individuals around the world.
A four-year degree in nursing science, 12-hour full-time night shift hospital work, holidays, weekends, birthdays, all kinds of memories, family pictures that I'm not in to be in the hospital.
I was working 80 hours a week, making a contribution one person at a time, spending my days working on everybody else's schedule, fighting to try to get people to exercise and take care of their health, struggling every day, wishing I could make a bigger impact, trying my best to get people to realize their health is important. It was such a struggle, but I knew there had to be a better way to help more people. My eyes were open to the challenge, and I saw a way where I could stop helping one person at a time and be put in a position where I could help tens of thousands, if not millions, of people at a time.
From a very young age, I was told that college is something we had to do. It was not an option. We were also told that we had to do it in 4 years, because if we didn't complete it in 4 years, we would have to pay for it ourselves. So I went that route, and I ended up becoming vice president of a global technology company, where I felt like day in and day out, working 16 to 18 hours a day, with a thumb on me, telling me what I could and could not do. But I also knew from a young age that I had a passion to help people. So I was unbelievably blessed in learning about VISALUS and our mission. And now we're going into global markets, and we're going to be able to help hundreds of thousands of people, and no longer do I have a thumb on me.
Any other police officer brothers and sisters out there? For 15 years I was a local police officer, and I thought I had to be a police officer for the rest of my life, right? As a government employee, you think that's what you have to do, because that's what cops do. I was married to my pension, married to work, the king of overtime in our department. 6 months into promoting the challenge with my wife, I walked into the chief's office and retired 5 days later. For all my cop buddies out there, you can do it. Surround yourself with inspiring people, the people that you, wherever they're at, follow them, and you'll get there too.
For 18 years, I worked in the mortgage banking and finance industry. And then in August of 2007, with a snap of a finger, my job was gone. The company I worked for 14 years was gone. And I can truly say this was a defining moment for Christina and myself. This was the moment when we decided that no longer would we allow someone else to determine our fate, to determine our finances, and to determine whether we would have a paycheck the next week. Discovering VISALUS has been one of the most uplifting and incredible journeys that we've ever faced, and we're looking forward to being stewards and missions going forward.
I started out in the corporate world, but was told I was not good in the corporate world, so got married like every girl wants to do, and decided I was the best at being a stay-at-home mom. When I was introduced to VISALUS, We had 3 kids under the age of 5 and a teenager. It's quite busy, but I never thought. I've always wanted to be successful, but I couldn't do it in the corporate world, so I thought I'd just do it at home. Not thinking I could ever bring in a 6-figure income from home, and now that's what we do. And I enjoy helping people from my home and not leaving it just like I was before.
I've had over 70 jobs in my lifetime. Since I was 12 years old, I've been searching for purpose. I dropped out of Bible college to get into this industry, and I've been searching for purpose my entire life, and I found it here.
Since I was 17 years old, I've been selling something, and I've been pretty good at it. I've sold food, I've sold insurance, I've sold whatever it took to put bread on the table. I thought that's what it was going to be. It was going to be, you're going to find the next job to sell something, to maybe make a little more money. But in truth, all I was doing was paying for my boss's car, my boss's house, his vacations, and his future. While all the time I struggled to take care of myself. That changed 2.5 years ago.
I was raised in a middle-class home where we were taught to get a good education and to get a good job. And I did that. I was in the corporate industry and the insurance industry, and then I met this wonderful man here, got married, had babies, and became a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom for over 10 years now, so I have the ability to speak into my children, and that's all that I thought I was able to do. But now, I have the power to speak into many other lives. Thank you.
I went to university for 4 years to get my degree in nutrition because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. To come out, to go back to being a secretary, and then having to get a second job just so that I could pay the bills for myself. All I wanted to do was make a difference, change people's health, and I'm so grateful that I found VISALUS because that's what we get to do every single day now.
I was a fireman for 19 years. Working 60 to 80 hours a week. Working every holiday, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. Having the entire family juggle around the fire department schedule. Taking in every day, getting beat up or hurt or burned. And sometimes not even know if I was going to go home the next day. And I just thought that was how life was supposed to be. But this gives you the opportunity, you know, when I was a fireman I wanted to help people, but this gives you the ability to go help so many more people.
When I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I found a computer. And it was great because I didn't have to speak to people. I spent most of my life as a computer nerd, became a professional gamer. I ended up being spending my life just helping people with computers. And it's what I thought, I didn't know what else I wanted. And it wasn't until I found VISALUS that I felt fulfillment. 10 years of driving 2 hours to work, 2 hours home. At the end of it, 30 years old, I was like, what am I here for? And when I found VISALUS, all the experiences I've been through, it made me feel like I was home.
"19 years in the construction industry. And as you guys learned last night, I hate it. But I didn't know there was another way. Went from job to job to job with no appreciation of my hard work, my long hours away from my family. I had no clue that there was a life out there to get to help people and be appreciated for it. And for VISALUS, I now get to enjoy that.
Dropping out of college, I learned very quickly that my value was determined on an hourly basis. And I would pray every quarter for that 50-cent raise that would make all the difference. 60 hours a week, working for a bipolar boss, I was miserable. Until I finally found an industry and a company where my value was determined by how many lives I could transform.
I lived health and fitness my whole life. I've always wanted to help the masses, and I thought that answer was to open up a gym. So I partnered up with some great people, and we spent $3.2 million opening up a Gold's Gym. That gym, I leveraged my home for. And I spent 15 hours a day. I had no life. I didn't take a vacation for 3 years because we were open 24 hours. I realize now that Visalis is my gym. I can inspire and help the masses more than ever before.
I thought the only way to truly be successful was to own a small business, so I bought an insurance agency. In the end, what I found was I bought an expensive job. I was working 70, 80 hours a week, Saturdays, Sundays. My health was deteriorating, and my employees were making more money than I was. But then I found a better way. I found a way that I could buy my life back, my health back, and my time back.
It seems like my whole life I felt like an entertainer. I used to entertain myself as a kid, growing up to keep myself busy, away from all the noise from my stepfather. And recently being one of the most world-renowned hypnotists in the world, there was something missing. There was something missing. I'd reached a plateau, the hours away from my family, the weeks away from my family, 180 days out on the road. There was something missing, and I'm so very grateful that I found something that truly lifts my heart, where I can now reach not a few hundred people over a weekend, but tens of thousands and millions of people with an amazing message.
I used to get up every single morning at 4:30 a.m. 12-hour day was an easy day. I worked so hard because I was going to be a fitness manager one day, even though no part of me even wanted to do that. Here I was supposed to be the epitome of health and fitness. I was constantly sick. I was exhausted and stressed out to the point that I gave myself anxiety. I finally found something where not only I can help more people than I used to, but I can be happy too.
For 12 years, I ran daycare centers and took care of everybody else's kids, not even my own. I worked 60, 70 hours a week, had 50 employees, and I love children. They're our future. You guys, now I can go out and change millions of children's lives through nutrition, and I'm so thankful for it. I came to a point in my life where I went from loving my corporate job to wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. The most important job in the world, being able to inspire and teach our children ourselves, not to miss those special moments. But the reality of the economy, we found ourselves about to have our 4th child in complete financial devastation. In fact, I was certain we were going to be homeless when she was born.
When you don't have a college degree, you don't have too much of a choices. Options you have, as you can see. No matter how cool I thought I was, no matter how smart I thought I was, because that's all I knew. Now, all I want to do is inspire kids and everyone. You can be better. You can have more. You can believe in yourself. You can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
For 26 years, I got up every morning and put on these work boots. Because I grew up in a family with a dad who worked the same job for 46 years of his life. And I felt that that's what I was supposed to do. See, I was in construction, that's all I knew. I became a contractor because I wanted something better for my family and for myself. And when the recession hit, that took all of that away. But I'm thankful because it gave us an opportunity to look for something better.
I picked the right industry, but time and time again, the wrong companies. As a result, I created a lot of negative mindset, negative thoughts, self-limiting beliefs. So strong that still today I have to overcome. As a father, you know, that fear of never really being able to provide the way I should. I surrounded myself with the right people and made a decision to join Visalis. And it's amazing what happens when you associate yourself with the right people. As a result of helping other people get what they want, we've been able to do everything we want.
Guys, my entire adult life, I worked my way up from the very bottom in an insurance company. Year after year, having a promotion after promotion after promotion, feeling like I was finding success, and that I was going to do something great, make my parents proud. And I am so beyond blessed and grateful that I have found a way that I can make an impact on this world, and I can make my parents proud and have a life of significance and fulfillment. And thank you for that.
Between 7 cities and 3 states, I found myself coming home to just this every day, full of clothes, because I had sold my bags. And it's because I was a great dreamer, and that was it. I became a professional liar, where every day I would tell myself that just dreaming was going to make something happen. And I lived by borrowing money from mom, from dad, and I'd use that to pay back brother, and use that from a stranger to pay back someone else. I was a professional at lying and begging, until I decided to put that energy into something else. It's called Visalis. That's what I did. I put my energy there. So now when my baby's going to be born in August, I can be a father, and I'm not going to tell him just to dream, though. I'm going to tell him you've got to do work, gang.
I grew up with a very loving family that always wanted the best for us, and always taught you to go out there and try your best, and, you know, work hard at the job and make sure that you go to school, because if you don't, bad things will happen. And, you know, I found myself doing exactly what they told me to do, and found myself miserable. I never asked for this. I never asked to wear a tie. I never asked to say things a certain way, show up at a certain time, do things people wanted me to do that I just did not want to do at all. I believe there had to have been something better. There has to be something better out there. There's got to be something more to life than this. And I got stuck and let everything else around me and those jobs and having to do things that I didn't want to do define my entire life, and felt helpless until now.
At 17 years old, about a month after I graduated high school, looking for a job, and the best job I could find was UPS. Never intended for it to be a career, but they were paying a little bit more than nothing. So started delivering packages and didn't do so well in college, so continued to deliver packages and continued to deliver packages and continued to deliver packages, and 20 years later, still delivering packages. And I really thought that was as good as it was ever gonna get. I was gonna do this until I couldn't do it anymore. 22 stops an hour, whatever else they told me to do. But thank God for Visalis.
You know, when I was a kid, they said you're a loser, they said you're a dummy, they said you'll never amount to anything. I believed that. And I started just doing meaningless jobs. Working in a fish camp, working in a photo lab, carpenter, commercial fisherman. I had 11 jobs before I was 18 years old. Couldn't keep one. Even quit school because I believed them so much. And then one day I realized I didn't have to live the story that someone else wrote for me. I could write my own story and live it.
After high school, I was told to go and find a good job. So I did that. And for 20 years, I sat behind a desk every single day, trading hours for dollars, barely making it. And I thought that if I was loyal to my job, that I would, everything would be okay. But after 20 years of getting passed over for promotions, 20 years of spending more time at work than with my family, I just did not have any fulfillment. 3 years ago, I found my home. I found my place. And now I'm happy to say I'm a full-time, stay-at-home mom with my kids, and I am walking in my calling.
I was raised in a very religious family. My father worked, my mom did not. And that was all I ever knew. So with 5 kids and my husband not working, the only job I thought I was even qualified for was working the midnight shift at a drive-through fast food restaurant. With our marriage on the line and losing our home and our family, Visalis has truly changed our life.
I was always raised from a young age to find a good job. 16 years later, as a local telephone technician, I thought it was normal to work 14, 15 hours a day, 60, 65 hours a week. I thought it was normal for my 5-year-old son to ask my mom, does Daddy live at home anymore, because he never saw me. I thought that was normal. And thank God for this opportunity 3 years ago, and thank God for Visalis.
All my life I wanted to be a millionaire and be successful and have a great life. First started out, I wanted to play football, and at age 22, finally got drafted to play football professionally. Had a career-ending injury in training camp. Growing up, 3 doors down from me was one of my good friends in high school, Tom Green. We started doing comedy together from 14 years old. He said, let's go to New York or to California, and we can do this thing together, bro, and make it. I had a young family, I couldn't go, I let him go on his own. Many of you know Tom Green today. I started rapping at a young age, and I thought that was my ticket to make it. We had to go to New York and Los Angeles, a bunch of places. My DJ, Kevin Risto, won a Grammy for making a song with 50 Cent and Dr. Dre. I couldn't do it, so I gave up on all my dreams to get a job at Costco. Something safe, something that gave me dental, benefits for medical, and a free turkey every Christmas. after 8 years of living in the Costco box and missing everything that my kids were doing, their first steps, their first words, getting only 2 weeks of vacation a year, I decided to go into network marketing and stumbled around for 10 years, going for company with shiny new object, shiny new product. And then finally when I saw VISALUS, I realized the one thing you want to look for when you look for a company is a company with heart that you can believe in, ownership that's loyal to everybody that's working it, and a vision that they back up with everything that they say and do. And today we inspire many, many people to not just settle for a job when they have greatness within them.
Like so many young people, I thought that the circumstances that I was born in were supposed to determine my journey through my life. I wanted to be a teacher, and my dear grandmother looked at me and said, "You know what? I can help you get through trade school, but I can't afford to send you to a four-year college." So I searched through books and I figured out what could I do that I could be around people and I could help them. And honestly, guys, I didn't feel I was very smart. I wanted to make money. I wanted to have the nice clothes. So I took something called work release through high school. I've never taken algebra. I've never taken a geography class. I took only the bare minimums that I needed to take because I just wanted to make some money. So I figured out I could be a hairdresser. I could go to school in 9 months and make money. And that's what I wanted to do. So I thought I was destined to be a hairdresser. Grueling hours, sun up to sundown, behind a chair. It's hard work, guys. And that's what I thought I was born to do and all I could do until I found this.
I was a 12-time IFBB Pro figure champion. I won the Figure Olympia twice. And although I'm very, very proud of all my accomplishments, the life of a competitor is very lonely, it's isolating, and it's a little bit selfish. Although I might have inspired some people with looking good in a bathing suit, I was never changing lives until I found VISALUS.
I was raised in a very religious household, and to be successful was pursuing riches, and that wasn't spiritual. So every time I did have a dream, it was always shut, just suppressed. And even though I always had an inner drive inside myself that I wanted to be more, I was never encouraged. So I finally, with only a high school education, I ended up in outside sales for a newspaper. And then I finally decided to stretch out and become a publisher of my own publication, and then realized that I really just bought myself a job. And after 6 years of my life being run by deadline after deadline and no vacation in 6 years, even though I felt like I had become successful, I wanted my life back. And thank God that God has shown me the plan for my life. And VISALUS, I'm home now, and I can actually be able to talk about health, life, health, and prosperity.
22 years in corporate sales. I worked for 3 world manufacturers. I help sell products that made the biggest buildings in the Southeast. I sold products that got people from point A to point B. I sold products that helped people feel safe when they walked in a building. Beyond the 6 figures and all the sales awards that I received, because I'm a very competitive person, I had no life. My corporate job ran my life. I isolated my family. I didn't have a partner. It ran my life. I lost the passion for being a great son, an amazing athlete in college, a reason just to be who I am. And when I was introduced by VISALUS by this amazing lady, Nick Somercola, I got the passion back in my life that I needed to have a rebirth in my second part of my life. Thank God for VISALUS.
I used to think the pinnacle of success was climbing the corporate ladder, getting to the top, earning that corporate income and all the stock options and benefits that come along with it. But I realized that there was a much, much better way. I saw people that were entrepreneurs that were making just as much money, if not more money, that I had been making, but it was on their time. They had their time freedom. They had the ability to build their business with the people that they love, the things that they want to do, go the places where they want to go. And I'm so, so thankful for this opportunity.
In my own pursuit of achievement, of wanting to feel success, I found myself as a financial auditor for a Big 4 public accounting firm. And from the outside, I knew I looked good. You know, my parents were proud, my community was proud, my coworkers thought that that was the way. And I was working 60 hours a week and traveling 60% of the time, and I was comfortable. But it did occur to me that there was an emptiness in my heart, and I had to take a leap of faith. And there was a lot of things in the way of me taking that leap of faith. And I had to just trust. And I found a new industry. And now, with Visalis, I finally found that meaning I was always looking for. I found something that I wake up to, and every single day I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And I'm proud of what we do.
I was raised by two amazing parents that more than anything taught me that whatever you do in life, be happy. But there was a lot of pressure because the three siblings before me had multiple degrees, masters, doctorates, and I barely got out of high school. So with such limited education, there wasn't a lot for me to do, and I knew I wanted to travel, have fun. It was years and years that I did that, and while it was a good time, I realized that money is important to be able to support yourself, and more importantly, to be able to do things for other people. I started attending leadership workshops, motivational speeches, and hearing some amazing speakers. And more than anything, I learned that you can think outside the box and absolutely anything is possible.
I grew up in that same box that Blake Mallon grew up in. I had to go to college. It was what my family expected of me, and I wanted to make my parents proud. But I always knew I wanted to help people, so I chose a profession of social work. And I worked with foster kids in the foster care system. So my caseload was about 50 kids, but I was living at poverty level income. When Luke told me about network marketing, not only did I think it was the dumbest idea in the world, I was actually ashamed to admit that we were involved in the industry. I'm proud to say now that I have a caseload now of thousands of people that I'm touching every day, blessing their lives on a much bigger level than I ever could, and not at poverty level anymore.
I grew up believing that I had to go to college. The expectations and the pressure that my parents put on me, I had to be something that I didn't really want to be. My dad worked for corporate America for 27 years, so that's what I thought that I had to do. Didn't get to see him very much, and my life was the same. I would come home, get up before my kids would get up, come home as the kids were going to bed, not getting to spend time with my family. Thank goodness I was able to find a better way.
I come from a lower middle class family. My mother, when I was 5, had a stroke, lost her speech in her right side, and continued being ill over the years. And when I was 16, I had to quit school so my dad could keep her home and take care of her. And I was collecting carts and changing truck tires, so I was 18, got a job in a factory making toilet paper tubes for about a year and a half. And then I got into the car business and worked really hard and worked my way up. And what I realized as I worked my way up, I wasn't changing lives, and I was working 70 hours a week. And this suit actually fit me then. And my life was going nowhere. And then Visalis came into our life in 18 months. We've changed a lot of lives. It's changed our life. What I love about Visalis is we've to go from town to town, change the economy in that town, and help a lot of hurting people.
My grandparents lived paycheck to paycheck, my parents lived paycheck to paycheck, and I wanted a better way for my family. And I thought I had to go to a great college and get a great job. And so I went to a great college and I got that great job. Only it wasn't so great. I had to get up from an alarm clock every single morning. I was told what time I could be at work, what time I could leave, what shoes I could and couldn't wear, what clothes I could and couldn't wear, when I could use my cell phone, when I could be sick, when I could use the bathroom, when I could go on vacation twice a year if nobody else was going on vacation at the same time. The only goals that I had were the ones that my boss gave me. I was undervalued. I was never praised, never recognized, but always, condemned for anything that I did if I was 5 minutes late. So I am so thankful to find an industry where I can get up when I'm done sleeping, when I can go pick my kids up early from school, when I can be sick when I'm sick, when I can go on vacation, when I can set goals and be taught to dream bigger, when I can give myself a raise whenever I want. And pajamas are no longer called pajamas in my household, they're called office attire.
I lived this script from the time I was small. Always was taught to go to school, get my degree, go get that MBA, thinking I'd have job security in the future, only to find out after giving 8 years of my life to a company to be let go when I was 5 months pregnant with our second child, and my world came tumbling down. And now I can be a mom, I can be a wife, and I can help so many others do the exact same thing with VISALUS.
Having been raised in an environment of ministry and social service, I chose to go into the social work profession. However, even after graduating both high school and college with honors, I still found myself working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Then I discovered the world of entrepreneurship. Because of this, now I have the honor of being a full-time mom to my 3 teenage daughters, and I have the joy of being able to work with self-motivated people who are focused on their goals and touching the lives of others, instead of people who just come to see me because of a court order.
My childhood dream is I wanted to be a pilot, and I went to aviation school, was on my way until 9/11 happened. Had over $150,000 in student loans, and I got into marketing, a job that would never amount to enough money to ever get me out of the mountain of debt that I created. I met my wife and she got pregnant, and I'd be traveling a month at a time. I became marketing director of the American Grand Prix. I put on equestrian horse shows, and my job was to fill stadiums. But I'd be gone a month at a time, and I didn't want to be a father that would be away from his kids. And now with VISALUS, I get to fill stadiums, not to entertain people, but to impact their lives. Thank you, VISALUS.
I graduated high school, and I was the person that was too afraid to admit that they didn't want to go to university because I was scared I would fail. So I like to work out, and I ended up at the gym, and a guy asked me if I should work there. So I said, okay. I ended up working really, really hard, 12, 14-hour days. And the one thing I was passionate about, health and fitness, was on the back burner. I no longer was working out, I was just working with that individual. Soon, you're tired. Ryan and I never had a vacation because we needed to trade our time for money. And then I started realizing the people that were coming to that gym weren't the people that needed my help. It was the people that were too afraid even to walk through those doors. So we were introduced to VISALUS. We were $100,000 in debt, and we were not eating healthy, and we were not helping anyone. Thanks to VISALUS, that debt is gone. I get to work out in a gym that I love, and now we get to help so many people and inspire them to walk through that door in the gym now.
I was brought up on the family farm, and I loved it there.
And that's where I developed entrepreneurship, to be an entrepreneur. I would use my dad's tractor and implements, and I'd go to the neighbors and offer to do work there. And I was putting a lot of cash in my pocket. That was still in high school. But you know what? I was missing an element, and that was people. And I started asking around, where would be the ultimate career, the ultimate job? And it kept pointing to a government job. So that's what I did. I went and got a great job. I was a public health inspector, a building and plumbing inspector. And it was great, but it was still missing something. I was finding that the hard hat was starting to hurt my head and squeezing my ideas and my dreams and my hopes. The tie was choking my spirit. And I realized I had to make a decision. It was a very, very difficult decision. And I resigned to pursue entrepreneurship. But I needed a vehicle. And I started, over a period of 16 years, looking for the right vehicle, something that was going to be able to inspire me, something that I could passionately promote and create an unlimited future of living the life of my dreams, and more importantly, helping others do the same. And I found VISALUS. VISALUS has unleashed the complete, unlimited possibilities that we could ever imagine and hope for. And I'm so glad to share it with you.
I grew up in a wonderful home, and I loved playing sports in high school, but I hated going to school. I loved being part of a team. My parents, fortunately, told me, baby, you can be anything. You can do anything that you want to do. But when I graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that I didn't want to go to school very much anymore. So I chose the profession of dental hygiene because I could go to school for a short amount of time and make a lot of money. But I finally realized, guys, that I would never make more money than that doctor that I worked for. And when I found this industry, I realized that I could be a part of a team and that I could bless and help people and help their lives, and I've found a whole new way to make people smile.
When I was 15 years old, I moved out of the house. I didn't see eye to eye with my stepfather. I left my mother at home with my brothers and sisters. There was 6 of us. I moved to the big city, got a job working for the government as a filing clerk. Worked for 10 years in different clerical positions. And everybody kept saying, you're not going to get any further ahead unless you have a degree. So I went to night school for another 10 years. Got a degree. And then I wondered the whole time, why am I here? What is my purpose? Who am I really helping? Pushing papers around? An accounting degree? I didn't really fit the mold. I was good at it, but it was boring. And then I found this industry. And then I found VISALUS. Now I know why I'm here.
The oppresse libre, which is Latin for free the oppressed, was the mantra that I carried for 11 years serving with the Special Forces in the U.S. Army Rangers. Was the mission, it was the mantra I carried for 11 years when I found myself broken physically, mentally, and emotionally, and financially. I fumbled around for 19 and a half, almost 20 years in the network marketing industry, and now we carry the mantra of life, health, and prosperity.
Before VISALUS, I was a landscaper with my father. My father is 63 years old, work all the time. Me and my father have no money, have no time, have no freedom, have debts. So I have a dream I got freedom for my family, my mom and my dad. So 2 years later, my family, my mom and my dad, have a freedom. Thanks to you, thank you, Visalus.
Failure. That's what I saw when I looked in the mirror. I failed at college. I failed at jobs. I failed at my marriage. I failed at my finances. And I met someone who believed in me. Me. Of all people. He encouraged me to read and to grow and to learn. And now I know that all of us, including me, were put on this earth to live a blessed, highly favored, giving, and prosperous life.
Really poor. We would have been on welfare, but my mom was too proud, and I knew from a young age I wanted to be a millionaire, because by being a millionaire, you know, my wife, my kids, and the future generation of her family wouldn't have to go without food, would never know what it feels like to live out of a car. And, you know, plugged into the same system, I was told, you know, get good grades, so, you know, I became an honor student, top of my class. Then, okay, go to college. And I'm like, okay, well, who makes the most money in the marketplace? I'm like, business owners. Okay, so I went to college. After a year of college, I realized that the people instructing me were not running successful businesses themselves. They were just literally reading out of a textbook. So I dropped out of college. I then went to work in the oil field because it was a high-paying career, but I didn't feel fulfilled because I wasn't positively impacting anybody. Got into the fitness industry because it was my passion. You know, realized that, okay, here is some place where I can actually positively impact people's lives. You know, realize the culture of that company was more about the dollars and less about the people. And the fact is, the people that needed most were never coming into my gym. So I wasn't helping the people that needed it most. And, you know, I worked hard and I got into management and I, you know, got promoted. And I started lying to myself and saying I love my job, I love what I do. Well, on the inside, day after day, month after month, year after year, I felt like I was dying inside. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I felt like I was on autopilot. That all changed when Visalus came into my life 27 months ago.
I made the great grades, graduated from college in 3 years, was the youngest person ever hired to my pharmaceutical company for that position. Did very well in the industry. Was told I was so lucky to have one of America's first blockbuster drugs, $6 billion drug. Every single day, I waited and waited and waited for a doctor to just simply acknowledge me, so I could tell him one sentence, and then he could sign my computer for the samples, because he wanted me out of there, because I was interrupting his day. See, I grew up in a family that taught me the lesson that if every single day I'm not waking up and being myself, not wearing a conservative, stuffy suit, working for a conservative company, not wearing my hair in a bun because I thought that would downplay the way that I looked or make me look smarter or feel smarter, wearing glasses that I didn't need. If I wasn't waking up every single day and impacting someone else's life, then I was not living out my God-given potential. And now, I'm just like you guys, a promoter, a soldier in a company with a real mission.